Hello, so in this video we are going to be dropping in any mistakes that have been picked up on the proofreader's report back into a chapter, re-rendering the chapter or consolidating it or formatting it however you wish to word it, and then sending the completed repaired chapter back to us. And this is going to run through how to do this in Pro Tools. So at this stage in the recording, what has happened is you have read your book, you have sent us the original chapters. Those chapters have been passed to a proofreader. The proofreader has read them and produced a report with any mistakes or anything that needs to be replaced or taken out. So this is all theoretical. So let's say the proofreader has sent us back the report, and on chapter 8 there are two mistakes, one at 8 minutes 43 seconds and one at 13:32 seconds. So first of all, the first thing to note is that it's always best to work backwards in terms of timings. So we've got two times here, one at 8:43, one at 13:32. So we're going to do the 13:32 first. Now the reason for this is because, say if you have 6, 7, 8 mistakes in a chapter and you need to replace those lines, but if you do it from forwards to back, front to back, you will actually find that the timings by the time you get to the third, fourth, fifth mistake will have actually been pushed out slightly, because of the timing of the lines that you've replaced would be slightly different. So just to make your life a lot easier, it's always best to work back to front. So once again, we have two mistakes, one at 8 minutes 43, one at 13:32. We're going to do the 13:32 first. We're using Pro Tools here, but the same principles do apply to most programs, and if you have any trouble, you can contact us and I'll be glad to help you. So in Pro Tools, what we do is we select a tool. So we've got the selector tool or the hand tool. I'm going to use the selector tool here. The proofreader's report said there's two mistakes on chapter 8, so I'm going to double click chapter 8 to select it, and then in the timing area it tells you the length. The length here tells us the length of this clip, or this chapter. So this chapter is 14 minutes 47 seconds long, and the first mistake we're going to do, working back to front, is 13 minutes 32. So all you do is you just select the 14 there and type in with your keyboard 13.32, and Pro Tools, press enter. Pro Tools will jump us to the point where that mistake comes in, so it will be somewhere here. So I'm just going to make a split here with the keyboard. The shortcut is Command in E. So Command in E will split it. I'm then going to change the mode here to slip. We will be using the shuffle and slip mode in this video. Slip simply allows us to drag the pickups that you have recorded and are ready to lay down into the chapter. Slip allows us to move this freely along the timeline. In shuffle mode, we can't move it freely, but that doesn't matter too much at the moment. So 13:32 in chapter 8 is down here, and you can see that the re-record that you have done is roughly the same. The waveform looks roughly the same as the original. Obviously, it's always best to just check that it is correct.
And as for his mother, she managed to create a storyline.
Yep, so they're the same pieces of audio that you've just recorded in. So what we would do in Pro Tools is simply select the audio that we want to replace, the new audio that you've recorded. So select that, press Command and C to copy it, and then place the mode into shuffle up here. What shuffle does is it allows us to place any audio that we copy into a file and not lose any of the words around it. So it will literally shuffle the audio left and right around the insert, and I'll show you what I mean by that just now. So we've copied your replacement line. We're going to highlight the part that needs replacing, sorry. And we're going to press Command and V to paste it in, or just V if you have the shortcuts button turned on. So Command and V will then replace this, and you see there it's replaced it in and shuffled the audio around so it's roughly in the same position, so it sounds like a natural drop. So using the script as a guide, you can make sure that you haven't lost any information from either before or after this drop by just pressing play.
To feel important. And as for his mother, she managed to create a storyline out of collecting him from the hospital, which he really didn't appreciate. He frowned.
Yeah, that sounds good. And if you want to just clean it up, you can move into slip mode and just delete these areas here. If it sounds good enough just dropped in, then it's not really 100% necessary. So that's the first mistake done at 13 minutes 32. But the proofreader's report said there was also one at 8 minutes 43. So what we would do is select the rest of the audio, the rest of the chapter, and go to the length part again, and just type in 8.43. Press enter. Move the timeline along a bit so we can see where we are, and it'll be around here somewhere. So let's just make a cut there so we know where we are. Bring the re-recorded audio down to where we are, and we can see actually, yeah, it was round about here. It was this section here that we need. So let's just listen to that to make sure that we have got the right piece of audio selected.
Before he'd become ill, he'd taken the stairs 2 or 3 at a time. But now, aware of what a fall could mean, he made his descent slowly, using the handrail. Before he'd become ill, he'd taken the stairs 2 or 3 at a time. But now, aware of what a using the handrail.
So we know that that is the same piece of audio. But it's always best to just double check. So, using the same technique, we change to shuffle mode to make sure that we don't lose any information from either side of this drop. We then select the original audio in the chapter and press Command and V or V, depending on which you like to use. And that will then have slotted the replacement audio into its correct place in the chapter. And we can clean up the drop parts again if you like to. So, and that is how you drop audio, replacement audio, into the original chapter in Pro Tools using both the shuffle and the slip modes. Shuffle mode is always the safest option to drop audio in because it means you won't lose audio from either side. And what I mean by that is if your replacement audio is a bit longer than the original audio, if you paste it in with slip mode, it will actually cut away some of the word after and you will lose that audio. It's not lost forever, it just means that when you send it to us it will sound a bit strange, but it's always best to check yourself that everything is correct, and the way you can do that is just by going to the page on the PDF that the proofreader has picked up the mistake on and just literally following the script just to make sure that this piece of audio is correct.
Before carefully making his way downstairs. Before he'd become ill, he'd taken the stairs 2 or 3 at a time. But now, aware of what a fall could mean, he made his descent slowly, using the handrail. He resented that.
And if that's okay on the PDF, which it is, then those 2 mistakes are done, and you are now ready to consolidate the chapter, or render the chapter. It's called consolidation in Pro Tools. So, what we've got here is chapter 8, and we can see on the clip list here. So to bring up the clip list in Pro Tools, if it's closed, it's just this button here. So we'll open that, and we know it's chapter 8. So, and I'm just going to show you an easy way to replace the names and a safe way to replace the names, so you know what is the new chapter and what's the old. So if you go to the clip list and select chapter 8 here, and then just press Command and C to copy this title, it just saves you having to type it out. So Command and C, and then just do something at the end of the title just to differentiate it, so you know this is the one you don't want. In my case, I just put a few X's at the end, so I know that I definitely don't want this one. So we've copied the title, and now we just need to consolidate the audio. So if you use Pro Tools, I'm sure you're used to doing this. So the way to do it when the chapter's been split is you just double click the first part before any splits, hold down Shift, and double click the last part after any splits, and that will select the whole chapter, and we can see that it is roughly the same time as it was originally, and that this is also the beginning of chapter 9. So we know that's the end of chapter 8, that's the beginning of chapter 9, that's the beginning of chapter 8, that's the end of chapter 7, so we're definitely in the right place, and we've definitely selected the correct audio. So now all we need to do is just consolidate this. So you can do that one of two ways. You can either go to Edit, Consolidate Clip, or you can hold Option Shift 3 as a shortcut. So I'm just going to go to Consolidate. That has then consolidated the clip and brought it all into one file, and it has also created a new file in the Clips menu. So what we do now is we just double click this new file, and because we've already copied the title from the old chapter 8, we press Command and V, and that puts us the name of the chapter 8 in. And then what I do is I just type repair at the end, so we know that that is the repaired chapter. And there you have it. You can then, if you want to, you can right click and reveal in Finder, and it will show you that you've created a new chapter. It's roughly the same size as the old one, which has got the 3 X's next to it, so you know you're not missing any information at a glance. And that chapter is now ready to send to us as a .wav file. If the proofreader comes back and says they, for example, have heard a sound of your arm maybe rubbing against something in between words, and they want to have that removed, then that is quite simple to do. So let's just use a theoretical situation. Let's say on chapter 10 at 6 minutes there is a sound that we need to remove. So go 6 minutes in. So if you don't want to re-record the line, and you can remove the sound without destroying any of the words, then you can simply go into slip mode here, select the point where the noise is. Again, this is just theoretical at the moment. Select the point where the noise is and press delete. Now the reason we use slip mode here is because if we were to use shuffle mode, I'll just show you, I'll just undo that. If we were to use shuffle mode, it would actually pull the audio to the point where the delete comes in. So if we press delete in shuffle mode, you'll see it would come from here to here, and it will make it sound unnatural.
Trying to be casual, and took a sip of her coffee. Okay, I can understand.
See, it just comes in a bit too quick. There's not that natural gap.
And took a sip of her coffee. Okay.
So any kind of edits that need to be done in between words, it's best to just use slip mode. And then once you've used slip mode and got rid of it, it's exactly the same principle. You would go to, so we're on chapter 10, you would go to chapter 10, copy it, Command and C, add your 3 X's or whatever you want at the end, press OK. Select the whole chapter by double clicking, holding down Shift, and then double clicking after the point that you've edited. And you can see it's, yep, that's correct. That's chapter 9, that's chapter 10, that's chapter 11. So we've got all of chapter 10 there. Then once again, edit, consolidate clip. Double click on the new file that's been created. Press Command and V to paste the title. And then again, repair. So we know now that we have repaired 2 files, chapter 9 and chapter 10, and they would be ready to send to us Now we can put them in date order so we know that they're together, or we can just keep them in name order, whichever you prefer. So an easy way to send them to us would be to to compress them together into one folder. And the way you would do that, this applies to as many files as you like as well. In this case, obviously there's only 2. So you would select the files that you want to compress. In this case, chapter 8 and chapter 10. So I'll select chapter 8, hold down Command, and then select chapter 10. Then you would right click and then compress 2 items. So I'm going to do that. So this is now creating a compressed folder, or a zip folder, whatever you like to say, which will be here. It's called archive. So what you would do is just click on this and rename it the name of the book, and then repairs. And then you can send that to us. And that is how you make your drops, add them into the chapters, zip up the files, and send them to us. And once again, if you have any queries or any worries about this, you can feel free to email me, and I'll provide you with information as quickly as I possibly can. Thank you very much.